I am 27 years old and I am $36,000 in debt.
So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt, this is it right here.
Let's go over how much debt I have so you can feel better about your finances. 1 month ago, the Southwest card was at $11,513.67, and today it's at $11,268.37.
Ever since I was a kid, it was common knowledge that you should always carry a credit card in case of emergencies, but now they're a trap with no exit. This year, credit card debt is absolutely out of control, and these predatory companies have brainwashed our society into believing that you need to have this as a safety net. But what it's actually doing is burning a hole through your pocket and any chance at achieving financial freedom. Now, if you guys have a story about credit cards or dealing with credit card debt, let me know your story down in the comments section below. Otherwise, let's get right into today's episode.
I am 27 years old and I am $36,000 in debt. Now, I didn't go to school or college, any of that, so why am I $36,000 in debt? Let me give you a quick breakdown. Now, growing up, when I was 18, I got introduced to credit the wrong way. And as a kid, as an 18-year-old, not using their brain, I just swipe.
Yep.
I ended up going into collections. I'm currently paying it off. I was close to $15,000 in collections. I am down to $6,600.
Wow.
I have a auto loan that is $26,300. That's the biggest portion of my whole debt is the car. So I am focusing on trying to pay this damn car off.
That's crazy.
And the last portion is I did move to an apartment. So I do have, I went in and I kind of spent money on new sofas and a desk and stuff like that. I spent like $4,000. I owe $3,250, I believe, on that. So that sums up $36,000. Is it a healthy debt? Hell no. Anytime you owe money on a car is never healthy because it just depreciates. My collections, I think that's the only good thing, that I'm trying to pay everything off. That way my credit can continue to rise. I went from a 425 credit score to now I think I'm at 665 or something like that. But it was a mission. It was a mission. And, you know, a lot of people need to understand that when you turn 18 and you get introduced to credit, man, don't OD it. Don't OD it, because I did. And I spent the last 3 years trying to fix it.
Yep.
Don't do it.
Credit card debt is probably one of the worst types of debt. I don't know where that falls with student loans, because you can't declare bankruptcy on student loans, but you can on consumer debt, credit card debt. The reason why credit card debt is the worst is because it usually carries some of the most atrocious and highest interest rates that are out there. I don't know what they currently are, but I have seen credit card interest rates anywhere from 20%, maybe several years ago it used to be 14%, today all the way up to like 35%, which I don't know how that is legal. Like, it almost seems like extortion to be charging 30+% on a credit card on something that people have been brainwashed to believe that they should be carrying in case of emergencies. Like, we have been taught the wrong things from these predatory credit card companies. No longer are we teaching, oh, you should have a savings account. Oh, you should have $1,000 in, an emergency fund in your checking account. No. They teach, you don't need any of that stuff. You just need to carry a credit card. Oh, we're your friends, the credit card companies. And they did a ton of marketing to convince people that it's totally okay. But it is some of the worst stuff. Now, I swear he mentioned financing furniture. I think that's pretty insane. I've lived in maybe, 4 or 5 different apartments now, and I have never, ever had the thought of financing furniture. All the furniture that I got was either Goodwill, buying it on Facebook Marketplace, or IKEA or Amazon. Cheap apartment furniture. There's no reason to have real hardwood, solid furniture in an apartment. It just doesn't make sense to me. And then you're going to add on financing it on top of it, even at 0%. It's still unbelievable that people are actually doing that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. If you can't buy it in cash, you can't afford to buy it, or you're purchasing something that you just can't afford, and you should be purchasing cheaper furniture. Anywho, I wanted to read some of the comments that were left on previous episodes here on the channel, and if you guys want to get featured in the next episode, definitely make sure to drop a comment down below. Now, that's something I'm grateful for. I may be dirt poor, but I have zero debt. And yeah, I started thinking about this, and it's pretty crazy how, having $0, you're broke. Having $0, you are dirt poor. And yet there are some people out there that have debt and are worse off than if you were dirt poor, $0. Like, you could be homeless on the street with $0 in your bank account, and you are in a better financial position than people carrying $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 of consumer debt or student loans or whatever it is. Like, it's crazy how we as a society have convinced ourselves that carrying so much debt is totally normalized and okay. No, it's actually a really big problem.
I have a question. How much credit card debt are you in? Because for context, I'm 26, I've been working since 17, paying for my own shit, moved out at 18, have been independent ever since. And I have $10,000 worth of credit card debt. And I will be the first to admit that I'm not perfect. I've definitely paid off medical bills and like emergency vet visits and things on my credit card, but I've also bought a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
But it's like people my age have $55,000 worth of credit card debt. Do you see how my eye's twitching? That shit stresses me out. Like, $55,000 is my take-home salary from my last job. Like, I think I'm just morbidly curious on, like, what gets you to the point of $55,000 worth of credit card debt? Also, who gave you $55,000 worth of credit in general? Like, not to mention, my credit
That's
usage,
a good point.
way high. Like 90-something%. So my interest rates, 30%. Ugh. Like, the interest would make me want to throw up.
Oh, it is the interest that makes you want to throw up. Yeah, how are these people getting access to $50,000 on credit to spend on who knows what? And the thing that people don't even realize is if you look at your credit statement and it says $55,000 and you continue to pay the minimum, not only is it going to take you probably 8 years to pay it off, but that $55,000, by the time you're done paying it, will probably be somewhere after the compounding APY interest. It'll probably be somewhere closer to like 90, if not maybe even $110,000. That is how slimy and predatory these companies are, that they can get away with charging such astronomically high interest rates. Truly, it is insane. Credit cards are great when you use them properly. However, most people have no idea how to use them properly, and that's what makes them horrible. See, this is an interesting conversation and topic about credit cards. The other comments say, yes, this principle that people don't seem to understand. I make hundreds each year from cashback cards. I just pay them off each time my paycheck hits. Why not make free money on stuff I was going to buy anyways? Gas, Amazon. It's an interesting concept. And I want to tell you how credit cards actually work, how credit cards actually make their money, because I bet you most of you had not a clue or even put the pieces together. Credit card companies not only make their money from obviously charging you atrocious, insane interest rates on late fees and late payments, but how they make the meat and potatoes, the bulk of their money, is from charging the merchant anywhere from like 2.5% to maybe 3.5%, maybe even 5%, depending on the credit card, a fee for using that card and like accepting it at the merchant. So if you go and buy something, at TJ Maxx and you put it on your credit card, the TJ Maxx then has to pay Visa or MasterCard or Amex 3% of that sale. That's how they make their money. And the way these credit card companies manipulatively incentivize you to spend and spend and spend on a card is by dangling a carrot in front of you like a donkey and saying, hey, if we give you a measly 1%, and then they give it to you in points, and then the points happen to be less money than an actual dollar or penny, it's even less, they get you to spend it. So, hey, if I give you 1 point back and get you to spend it on something that we earn 3% on, I'll dangle that carrot and give you literally scrap money to get you to overconsume and to become a shopaholic. So at least for me, when I think about that, it makes me like not want to do the dirty work that these credit card companies want you to do. Like, they're not being upfront about their intentions with why they want you to use the card. It has nothing to do with them wanting to be nice and to give you 1% back. They could not give a shit about how you feel. They just want you to be motivated enough to consistently spend and spend and spend using their card over others so they can charge the merchant more money. Hence why nowadays some of these merchants are getting pissed and charging you the 3%. Lots of times now on restaurant bills and some places in the front, they say charging you a 3% credit card fee because they're getting pissed off and they don't want to pay it themselves.
Why do you have so much debt at 20, dude?
Yeah.
What have you done?
$26,000 is on my car. The rest of it is all credit cards. The biggest chunk of it all really started whenever I was out of a job for about 2 months. I was putting all of the rent, all of the food, everything on just credit cards. I had a decent job. My roommate had a kind of shaky job, and then he didn't have a job. For the first few months, he was getting money from like his parents or family or whatever, trying to make his part, but that's not sustainable. So, I had to start picking up his half. There was a 2-month period where neither of us had a job, so.
And how was that conversation with the roommate when you were taking on all the bills?
We had the same conversation of me just being like, you gotta figure out a way, and then there was no way being figured out. So
Did you get fired?
Yes. So I was trying to quit. I wanted to quit, but I didn't want to just like leave them because they were short staffed. We had stuff coming up. So I was like, okay, I'll quit in a month or two or something like that. But then like after a couple weeks, they said that my head wasn't in it anymore. So they just quit.
What was the
and they just
job?
fired me. I was a QC at industrial piping type business. So I just like checked the orders and sent them out to the trucks and stuff.
Okay.
See, I would never, under any circumstance, put myself into a position like that. That is very scary. I was fortunate enough that an apartment complex at my college, like near my college, offered separate leases even though we shared one room. Each person that I lived with, my 3 roommates, all had separate leases and would be held financially responsible, and not me. And as usual, because it's so common, one of my roommates happened to not be able to afford his rent, and I was not held liable for any reason. God bless, because that would have been terrible. They would have came after me and my other roommates. And that's why I also say you should never, and I mean never, co-sign anything for anyone under any reason, because that makes you responsible. And then they're going to be coming after you when they decide to stop paying or can't afford it. It's terrible with boyfriend and girlfriend relationships too, because God forbid you break up. Ugh. I played the debt game, hated every minute of it, shifted my mindset, paid off all debt, learned how to manage and use credit cards. Now I'm net positive and won't ever go back to debt. It's simple. If you don't have the cash, you can't afford it. Yeah, it is truly that simple, and that should be the mindset of everyone. I would sell off all the furniture and the clothing on my back before I started to touch someone else's money to borrow it. I think the only exception to that rule is maybe a mortgage, and even then, I would stay true and try to pay that thing off as fast as I possibly could, because if you let that timer run out to 30 years, your $600,000, $400,000 house, you're probably going to end up paying like $900,000, more than double what it actually costs, which is insane. It's all going to interest. And something I wanted to touch upon from the last comment that somebody said, because this bottom one here reminded me, I didn't even circle it, but Paige Whitaker says, I only use credit cards for the rewards and safety of my purchase versus using a debit card. And last I checked, I think there's still safety with debit cards too. I've had, fraudulent things done on my Chase card and they were removed immediately. No issues there. He says, I pay them off at the end of the month so I don't acquire interest, which is certainly good too. But the only reason I state why it's not necessarily a good habit, and probably not good for the vast or overwhelming majority of people, because people just always think so highly of themselves and how they shop, and that they're always better than what they actually are. Oh yeah, I diet. No, you don't. Do you track your calories? Oh, I track them in my head. No, you don't. You're probably several hundred calories over. Do you actually write down your budget? No. Okay, then you're probably spending several $100s more than you actually realize. It's the same thing with credit cards. More than likely, you are probably spending more money on your credit cards than you would had you used cash or a debit card, and you think it's okay because they're giving you a measly 1%.
Make a large credit card payment with me. Hey, I'm Lauren. I'm 27. I have about $16,000 worth of debt that I'm working on paying off. And the other day I posted a video about how I had this large deposit into my Chase account. And I had no idea where it came from, but I figured out where it came from. It was my balance transfer payoff. I recently got approved for 2 balance transfer, one for my Chase Visa, which has my highest debt amount, but it only got approved for $2,850. So that got deposited into my Chase checking account. And I was like, where did this money come from? And then I figured out it was from the payoff. So now I need to actually make the payment onto my Chase card. So here is my starting balance. I'll put a screenshot in here. It's like $8,100 and something, $84, something like that. I'm going to make the payment for $2,851.94 because it's exactly what is in my Chase account. And then I will update the total. All right, so that payment is made. That brings my total to, let me go look at my screenshot. Okay, it brings my total to $5,332.82, something like that. This is just on my Chase Visa credit card, but this has the most interest. Most of my other balances are either paid off or they have zero interest now. So I'm going to be working, throwing all of my extra money at this one. My next big payment will be when I get my TikTok payout on the 15th. So hopefully that'll bring that down to only a couple thousand.
Super cool. I actually didn't know that balance transfers don't actually get sent directly to the other credit card company to pay it off. I didn't realize, I mean, it makes sense. It's easier that way to just give you the money and to direct deposit it into your bank and then have you pay that credit card off. But part of me thinks, oh, that could get out of hand with some people that can't control themselves, and they would end up spending, like she said, I didn't even know where this $2,800 came from. I have no idea. Like, they might just accidentally spend that too, and now you're double screwed. You're extra screwed. But I do like the balance transfer idea. I think that's a great way to reduce. If you're already in a hole, it's a great way to help kind of, consolidate everything, consolidating your loans. I just did this with a friend. We consolidated his student loans and lowered his 14% crazy private interest rate loans, student loans, and we lowered them down to like 7%, 6%, which is a huge drop. And it's definitely the first step you should do is consolidate everything. So balance transfer is getting them from a crazy 25, 30% interest rate down to zero for the first year is certainly an exceptional tool to use. As long as you are crazy, tunnel vision, gazelle focused, paying off that 0% as fast as you can. Now, there are two methods to getting on top of loans. You have the snowball Dave Ramsey method and the avalanche method. Notice those are two total opposite. Snowball goes up, avalanche goes down. The way the snowball method works with Dave Ramsey, which I like his method the best, is you start with the smallest amount, your smallest debt, and you pay each one off, adding more money and the previous money to your next loan, and then the next loan, and then the bigger loans, so that you can start to see really fast success with paying off multiple loans as fast as you can. And you'll see a lot of progress, and you'll be like, oh my God, it's working. And then you'll maybe have 2 left, 3 left, and you'll tackle those bigger ones, and they'll get paid much faster. Or the avalanche, which is more of the mathematical approach, the mathematical smart way. Now understand, where was the math when you got yourself into the debt? So now using math to get out of it kind of seems silly at this point. That's just my opinion. But the avalanche method is to pay your highest interest rate balances first and then attack them down, which if you had the discipline in the first place, you wouldn't have been in this situation to begin with. So that's why I don't think that method works the best for people, if that makes sense.
If somebody has multiple credit cards, would you have them start paying off the highest interest first or the smallest dollar amount first?
This is controversial, I know.
About this.
Highest interest rate first, 100%. I don't care what the balance of the card is, because your highest interest rate is where you're paying the most money in interest, and I don't want you to have to pay more than you need to. I know, like, I used to listen to Dave Ramsey for a while when I first tried to get out of debt myself, and I felt like a lot of it just did not fit for me. And this was one of those things where it's like the smallest balance first didn't make sense for me, even though I'm a big dopamine hit person. Like, I want those quick wins, but I don't know. There's something about having quick wins versus actually saving real money that just rubs me the wrong way. I don't understand the idea of paying the small balance first if I'm not, at the end of the day, saving the most amount of money.
Which we just talked about, and she has a great approach to it. And again, whatever works, to each their own. But to answer her question, most people don't have the discipline. They didn't have it in the first place. That's why they got into the mess. And most people will most likely burn out. If you have 10 loans and the first one is 20 grand with a 15% interest rate, and the rest are maybe $500 with a 4% interest rate, it might take you 3 years to pay off that $20,000. And there's a very high chance most people will probably just burn out and give up paying it off. Then imagine you then pay 9 back-to-back you the 3% with the $1,000, amount on it. Boom, boom, boom. All these small wins. You're excited. And now you only have one left. Boom. You tackle that one and you're out versus, oh, I just got through a $20,000 loan. It took 3 years. It was huge. Oh my gosh, I have 9 more. I'm exhausted. That's kind of the mental approach to it. I'm beyond excited. In just 1 week, I'll be debt-free, having paid off my entire $285,000 debt and begun a new chapter of financial freedom. Charles, that is exceptional. I am so proud of you. Everybody go, congrats, Charles, and anyone who has debt stories similar to this. Maybe you didn't pay it all off yet. Maybe you only made a $500, a $100, a $15 approach towards it, but you're starting to pay it off. Share that story down below because I'm going to comment on as many as I possibly can to motivate you and help you guys and just share and get comfortable talking with getting yourself out of these sticky situations, because you'd be surprised. A lot more people are in this situation than you might realize. And there's power in numbers. So let's go help each other out down in the comments.
Would you be down to share how much credit card debt you have for $10?
Sure. $587.41.
What do you spend your money on?
Gas, groceries, and I just finished paying off my laptop.
Do you think another stranger would think that's a lot?
Nah, it could be worse.
What do you think of this previous stranger's credit card debt amount?
I don't think it's that bad because mine's higher.
Would you be down to share how much credit card debt you have?
Let me see. $3,469. I just bought some tickets to go to Japan. I already paid for the whole trip, so that's basically it.
Do you think another stranger would think that's a lot?
I would say so.
What do you think of this previous stranger's credit card debt amount?
That's more than my credit limit.
Would you be down to share how much credit card debt you have right now for $10?
Yeah, sure. $1,514.14. I spend my money on a bunch of food. I tend to treat myself whenever I'm hungry.
Well, if that's more than his credit limit, $3,500, and he spent $1,500 of it so far, that means he's used more than like 50% credit utilization, which will actually hurt his credit score. You want to use, I know this is crazy, but like less than 10-ish%. I know people say 30, but if you use less than 10% of the balance on your credit card, it actually can help build credit. But I stopped caring about that stuff several years ago. I very rarely use my credit card, only for my business. That's it. And honestly, I'll probably stop doing that. But yeah, just a tip.
I bought an iPad recently, so I ate like a good chunk of this number.
Do you think another stranger would think that's a lot?
Yeah, assuming they're unemployed, I think so, because the credit limit for when you're unemployed is like $1,500. That exceeds that mark.
What do you think of the previous stranger's credit card debt amount?
That's pretty valid. I mean, like, the month just started, so there's a lot of payments going through.
Now, would you be down to share how much credit card debt you have?
Yeah, $228.19.
Do you think another stranger would think that's like a high credit card balance?
I feel like it could definitely be lower, but I feel like it's not that bad.
If you already follow me, I'll give you $20 extra.
I don't.
What do you think of the previous college student's credit card debt amount?
Not bad. I'd say I have a little bit more than that.
Would you be down to share how much credit card debt you have?
$323.
I wonder if that's considered debt. Like, I've always had this issue with, like, when would we consider that to be credit card debt? When would we just consider it to be like a bill? I've had a credit card since I was 18, and I've paid the monthly payment off every single month in full. That's what I've been taught. And as long as you did that, that was considered responsible. And honestly, I probably do spend a little bit more money because I use a credit card versus cash or a debit card, but I can afford it. So be it. I do understand that I probably am spending more, but oh well, I'll accept that. But I pay it off every month. I don't consider it debt. I just consider it a bill. But I guess if you make a minimum payment once, it becomes debt because then you can't afford it. So let me know your thoughts on when does a bill become debt when it comes to credit cards. At this stage, I won't date anyone with that kind of debt. I worked my ass off during the worst of the pandemic to erase the little debt I had and build an 8-figure net worth. Wow, the little debt, and now he's a millionaire. Good for you. I refuse to welcome that level of toxicity and stress into my life. Yeah. Oof. Yeah, I know quite a few people in relationships where their significant other has quite a bit of trouble with the finances, or they're reckless with their finances. They've never been taught it. And that is the number one stressor and the number one reason for divorce in the US, or I guess the world, is money problems. So it's tough. If they show no want or need to change their spending habits, it's going to be a big problem. And if your significant other has spending problems and doesn't want to change, it could cripple your life. I know many friends where their parents divorced because one of them developed some sort of spending problem, gambling problem, whatever it is, and they're no longer together, and it ruins families.
Make me feel better. What's your credit card debt? I'm asking selfishly because
is my dude, this is the most bougie, weird thing I've ever seen. He's dipping French toast sticks in a glass jar of, or a glass cup of maple syrup. Oh,
life
what
is so
people
damn
do.
expensive. And the bills just keep coming.
Can you chew your food, my swallow? Thank you. Don't bite it.
And it's not stuff like you're lavishly buying. It's not like things that are like out of the norm. It's regular bills, gas, utilities.
It pisses me off. Chew your food and then tell me your story. Stop biting it, chewing, and then talking every word. Oh my gosh.
Car payment, mortgage, car insurance, cell phone. And it just keeps coming. And any progress you make, it's like something else happens. Vet bill. Car expense.
Oh my God,
your car
please.
broke down. Had my axle snapped the other day. It's like you can't catch a break.
Oh, there is so much wrong with that, and it like makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Please stop, for the sake of the video, chewing and talking and swallowing in order. It was like word, chew, word, swallow, word, bite. Oh my gosh, I can't. Anywho, moving past that, lots of things wrong with that. It's like, I forget who spoke about it, but somebody said, Americans make $1 to spend $1.20. And he is a prime example of that. And it also, he touches upon the problems with the horrible car market today, whether new car, used car, whatever it is. Definitely make sure to check out my car payment episode. And then also make sure to check out my new cars are horrible in this year. Highly recommend you check both of those out. But here's the thing. You want to reduce your monthly expenses and you want to increase your cash flow. Cash flow is king. Power and freedom come from having more money and flexibility at the end of every month. People don't consider that if you have a car payment and then you have to maintain it, stuff breaks. His axle broke. He now has to fix it. And then he gets slapped with the insurance at the end of the month, and then he gets slapped with his car payment at the end of the month. All of that adds up and will drain a person. So you don't need to have a car payment. You can lower your car insurance by not having a car payment. And if you can learn to be savvy with what you buy or how to fix stuff, you can reduce your maintenance fees for working on your cars. Secondly, you can also work on your mortgage, not take out a mortgage that's too expensive, one that you can't afford, because guess what? Maybe you can afford your mortgage that month or this year, but as we've talked about in the past, mortgages go up all the time, every year. Your escrow account, property taxes, insurance, they all go up, making your mortgage more and more expensive every single year. If you're not on top of that, you're going to get screwed. Someone in the TikTok comment says, rice and beans, French toast sticks are a luxury. That's what was going through my head the whole time. My man is dipping French toast sticks in maple syrup and complaining about how life is too expensive. Like, my guy, that's a luxury. I would consider that a luxury. Rice and beans is what you should be eating, not bougie French toast sticks that you could also make yourself for half the price. Go buy some bread and eggs, and you can have as many French toast sticks as you want. Stop buying all this pre-made stuff. I love my credit card. I use it for everything and pay it off every month. Same with my husband. We both have over an 840 credit score. See, I don't like it. I don't care about when you flex credit scores because I don't find credit really all that useful. I haven't needed to use it in years. I actually froze my credit because I don't use it and I don't care for it really anymore. And hopefully when I buy a house, I won't have to use it then too, but that's a whole different story. I just added my 15-year-old to my credit card as an authorized user. So let's get them hooked when they're younger too. That's crazy. So she can piggyback off my good credit. See, credit is only important if you're in a world where you're constantly borrowing money. If you get out of the cycle of needing to constantly borrow money, credit card and credit scores, they're unimportant. Who cares? That's how you have to think about this. If you're constantly worried about your credit score, then you're never going to get out of the cycle The borrower is slave to the lender, like Dave Ramsey says from the Bible. Our only debt is $42,000 left on our mortgage at 1.5%. We will be 41 and 42 this year. We are feeling great financially. I didn't have a credit card until I was 18. My parents never would have approved putting that on me. I had so many friends growing up on Long Island where their parents gave them credit cards at 14, 15, 16 years old. And what they considered emergencies would blow your mind. My friend got hungry and he's like, got to use my emergency credit card for pizza, 2 slices of pepperoni, sausage, and blah, 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 blah. That's what kids are doing. They don't understand how it works. And you're just starting them off young. And it's crazy how these credit card companies now let you. I didn't even remember that. At 15, they already got you hooked on borrowing money.
He's $300,000 in debt on credit cards. His wife just found out, and it's all sports betting, which is probably the fastest growing addictive problem that we're running into in the money world right now.
That's right.
Out of control sports betting. You can bet on whether they're going to dance backwards or forwards after a touchdown. You can bet on anything, right? Mm-hmm. And they are betting on everything, and it's out of control. Some of you are losing your entire futures to betting on watching someone else earn a living.
Yeah, it's so out of hand right now. Then you add gambling on top of credit cards and borrowing money, and you're setting yourself up for a financial disaster. Are you telling me there are people who love debt? They can pay my bills. Let me help with their happiness. Yeah, that's a valid point to the other person before. If you want to pay my bills and throw them on your credit card, hey, I'll send them your way. You can keep the measly 1% cash back. You're doing me a favor. I'm doing you a favor. You're happy. I'm happy. It's a win-win situation.
I need to know, what is the highest limit like a credit card has ever given you guys? Because I have one credit card, it keeps going up. Like, I'm not really using it, but I'll check every once in a while, and the limit has like skyrocketed. One card has $15,000, a single credit card. Why would I ever need to make a $15,000 credit card purchase of any kind? That's so scary. But I'm so curious, what's the biggest credit card limit a card has ever given you?
I have a credit card that has a $15,000 limit. I would never spend that much, and to be in that mindset of, oh, now you can spend that much is not good. It's good to build credit utilization because that works on a percentage basis. So if you are constantly spending $1,000 and your credit card is $1,000, you're using 100% of your credit utilization. If you have a $10,000 limit you went up to and you still continue to spend $1,000, you're only using 10% of your credit limit, which lowers your utilization and will boost your credit score. And also, Amex cards are charge cards and they have no limit. So that's something to think about too. My card limit is $42,000. I currently owe, $42.1K on it. So he owes more, probably because of the interest. Yeah, that's terrible. Oh my God, he used his entire limit. My Amex is a $30K limit. I guess certain Amex cards have limits if they're considered credit cards, but the other ones, the platinum, the gold, the green, those are charge cards and they don't have limits. Can you do a video talking and explaining about your high yield savings account and the Vanguard accounts and all of that? Obviously, leaving out personal info. Sure, I would be very interested to learn more about all of that from you. Yeah, at some point I am going to have to make a how to save video or something. I am collecting a couple of videos and I will be making that. So if you're curious about that, definitely take the time now to subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss out, because I am going to be sharing all of my, secrets on saving money, what the accounts are, what I have invested in those retirement and out of retirement accounts, my high yield savings account, my Vanguard, my Fidelity. I'll explain it all to you. It might be boring, but some of you guys might actually like it. So definitely make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out when I do post that video in a week or two. Credit card days in the 80s. Can you remember? No, I wasn't alive. Wow, is that how it worked? What is that? What kind of machine is that? The Amex Gold. If you guys were around during the 80s, let me know what credit cards were like back then. Let me know down in the comments.
I always get questions as to why I have so much credit card debt. This is it. I'm spring cleaning my apartment and I did something incredibly stupid. I must be a masochistic little idiot because I realized that I am literally the woman who lived in her shoes. I counted and there are 60 pairs. It takes up literally the entire area space of my bedroom floor. And for reference, this is about 6 feet right here. This area, it's like 6 feet across. So if you ever wondered why my savings account is basically empty and I have 5 figures of credit card debt, this is it right here. So this is what 60 pairs of shoes look like. And shamefully, I think only like 5 of these pairs are under $300. Okay, let's say under 200. Oh, and my Bass loafers right there. But everything else is over $200. Most of them are over $500. This is disgusting to me. And also, yes, most of them are black.
Wow.
I think I have maybe...
It's all the same.
3 pairs of non-black shoes. Let me know if you want a part 2 where I tally up the cost of everything because this is going to take me a while.
That is absolutely insane. Talk about a shopaholic with a shopping addiction problem. If you guys haven't seen, if you guys want to see more crazy videos like that, I highly recommend you check out my shopping addiction insanity video. Definitely recommend checking that one out. Actually, that's all I'm going to say. Just go check that video out.
Let's go over how much debt I have so you can feel better about your finances. Only today I'm going to show you exactly what the balance is on every single one of my credit cards and show you what it was exactly a month ago. Let's go. 1 month ago, my Bank of America card was at $5,174.50, and today it's at $4,947.80. 1 month ago, the Southwest card was at $11,513.67, and today it's at $11,268.37. 1 month ago, our Amazon Prime Visa was at $10,792.61, and today it's at $10,690.12. 1 month ago, my Capital One was at $6,404.10, and today it's at $6,356.11. 1 month ago, our Spirit card was at $6,116.60, and today it's at $5,888.60. 1 month ago, my credit union card was at $937.46, and today it's at $867.46. 1 month ago, our American Express was at $3,703.48, and today it's at $3,688.48. So that brings our total credit card debt down to $43,706.94, which means in the last 4 weeks, we have paid off $1,905.38. Considering we bought all of our Christmas presents in the past month, I'm going to count that as a win. If you didn't see my last video, then you may not have heard, but I was laid off from my traditional job yesterday. Unfortunately, I used that to cover all of my bills, and then all of the money that I made from TikTok, I was able to then apply towards debt. Unfortunately, now I don't really know what the future holds. So as of right now, we are going to get through the holidays. As always, thank you guys so much for your support. I love you so much.
I don't even know what to say, but if this video has not made you at least reconsider your thought on credit cards, I don't know what will. I don't even know how she was able to get a hold of that many different credit cards and run up the balances like that. That is absolutely insane. And then she's worried about getting through the holidays as if you need to spend more money on gifts. Like, there's other alternatives to getting presents for your children than purchasing and spending more money, especially if you're in crippling debt like she is. So hopefully you guys have learned something about credit cards, that they are not your friends, and just because they're dangling a measly carrot of 1% cash back in front of your face doesn't mean you should like them, doesn't mean they're on your side, they're helping you out, or they're your friends. They are manipulative and predatory, and you should stay far, far, far away from them. It's okay to have 1 or 2 if you can control yourself, like having 1 or 2 drinks at dinner. But if you're an alcoholic or you have a shopping addiction, you should stay far, far away from these things. But guys, that is going to wrap up today's video. Definitely make sure to smash the like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you haven't already seen part 1 of my crazy credit card insanity episode, definitely make sure to check it out right after this. Peace. They are misleading and manipulative. They are misleading, they are manipulative. I can't even say that word. And they are manipulative